What if I told you your belief in God is just your inner child begging for safety? In this video, Priyansh and I peel back the layers of faith, philosophy, and psychology to uncover something far more personal and disturbing. Is God real, or is he just your brain's way of coping with reality? Stick around, because this might just change the way you see everything. Why do we talk to God as if he's listening? I mean, really listening, whether it's asking for help, yelling out in anger, or whispering secrets. What are we actually expecting to happen?
I don't know. I mean, if we are taking God as an authority, right? He's an all-powerful being, and that actually doesn't even make sense to me. If someone did invent the universe from outside the universe, if we're taking that conception of God, which is very, very common among the masses, in that way, why will God be listening to me in the first place? I mean, given the scale of difference. But I guess they're assuming since he is omniscient and that he's omnipotent, that he will be able to. But that doesn't necessarily mean his will is going to be there, right? It's like you can do something, but doesn't mean you're going to do it, right? I don't get it.
Exactly. That's the tension, right? Just because God can listen doesn't mean he will. So then, why do people still do it? Why do they speak to God with such intimacy, like they're owed an audience? Is it belief, hope, or is it just habit passed down through culture, like speaking to a mirror and expecting it to answer?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think because we consider God as an all-powerful being, consider God as ever be like everything. I think God takes on a more of a spiritual parent figure. Think about it. For babies, their parents are everything, right? They can do everything. They're providing them with everything. They're all powerful. But as you grow older, you start and see realize the limitations of your own parents, and now that space that you had in your head ever since you were a baby, that disappears, of that idealized figure who was able to provide with everything. And now culture already has God, so it is just easy to adopt God, an all powerful being, into the role of that idealized being that is there for you.
That's such a clean insight. God kind of becomes the residue of our first belief in total protection and presence, like a placeholder for that early sense of safety and dependency. So, in that way, it's not just that we believe in God, it's that we need someone to carry that role once our parents fall from the pedestal. Do you think that's also why people take it so personally when someone questions their idea of God? Because it's not just theological, it's like you're attacking their inherent figure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah, because think about it. Younger kids, when they're like 2, 3, 4, 5, when they're barely able to talk, even up to like 6, 7 years old, they defend their parents like nothing. Like no matter what you say about their parents, they will come and fight you. Hell, I think the residue is there even for a longer age for certain particular cultures, that they're not able to criticize or look at their parents anything in a capacity anything other than divine. And I feel like that is there is it's like a residue from your early development, that you are passing on to this godly figure of yours, because that is your ideal, that is your idealized person, that is your all powerful idealized person who's giving you everything. So obviously you're going to defend it, because yeah, technically and even metaphorically it is just God, right, to them.
Exactly. And that also explains the emotional intensity. You're not just challenging someone's belief system, you're poking at their primal sense of safety, order, and love. Like, for some people, God isn't just an idea. They are still clinging to a cosmic parent who never abandoned them, who always sees them, always hears them. It's a psychological survival mechanism. Do you think that means faith is less about doctrine and more about attachment?
I mean, think about it. Why is it called faith? Because even children have faith in their parents. I think that is the reason a lot of these cultures focus on faith. And I believe see, a parent provides you with everything when you're a kid, right? They provide you with protection. They provide you with nutrition. They are always there for you. They are your safety net in the world. They are the reasons babies are not always anxious. They're the reasons babies are curious about the world. They're the reasons we project babies to be happy. And I think that is what religion, at the end of the day, maybe not consciously but subconsciously, that was the purpose of religion. When you give people faith in something, a imaginary parental figure, then they can return to being a baby which was curious, which was happy, and which was genuinely enjoying discovering the world. And that was the point of it. And that is why I think even a lot of poets say that child is the father of man, things like that. Children are closer to divine. That is a very pervasive theme among many cultures and even among many literary people. So perhaps this is all tied in together.
That's actually beautiful and kind of mind blowing. You're saying that faith isn't about control or submission, at least originally. It's about returning to that childlike state of openness, curiosity, safety. Religion creates the scaffolding for that, like a cultural womb. And maybe God is less commander of the universe and more guardian of your wonder. That would explain why mystics across traditions sound more like children than priests. Do you think then that losing faith, at least in the poetic sense, is like being forced to grow up too fast?
Definitely, I believe that, and in a way, in that, even yes, that can be essentially growing up too fast, but that is also losing what makes you special. Because think about it, what is growing up? You wrestle with the realities of the world, you wrestle with the corruption of the world, you are forced into responsibility, and you lose your wonder for the world. You're thinking and viewing the world in terms of suffering. Even great philosophers, they view the world in terms of suffering. I don't think I can recall any philosopher which was genuinely very happy. They're either very serious people, or they're people who are always speaking in terms of suffering. People who are like great literary poets also end up there. People like Franz Kafka also end up there. And it is only through becoming a child where you can genuinely be happy. And whenever we have to become a child, we do end up having some sort of faith. I don't think I can recall a single person who doesn't believe in something. Maybe they believe that they themselves are God. Maybe they believe that the universe is telling them something. Maybe they believe there are energies telling them something. So even if these people call themselves not believers but spiritualists and like different sorts of things, at the end of the day they're placing that sort of security onto something, and that technically does become their god. Because being a child at the end of the day is to live, while being an adult is to survive and to suffer.
That hits hard. The way you put it, being a child is to live, and being an adult is to survive. It's almost like we're born free and full of magic, and then life slowly cages us in the name of realism, responsibility, and maturity. But even in the bleakest adults, there's this hunger, a subtle aching for the wonder they lost. And that hunger takes shape as belief. Doesn't even matter what. It could be God, the universe, fate, energy, art, love, some future version of yourself, something to believe in, something that lets you play again. So maybe faith is less about doctrine and more about permission. Permission to be soft, to feel, to hope. And maybe the real crisis of our time isn't losing religion, it's that we forgot how to be children.
Exactly, and that is why I think Nietzsche said that God is dead, and we killed him, because that came at the backdrop of a lot of war. At the end of the day, God means here safety. Safety is dead because there is war everywhere. There is famine everywhere. People are dying. There is no hope left. There are no more children. Even people of the ages of 2 and 3 are now forced to be adults. No one can be a child because there is no God.
Yes, exactly. And Nietzsche wasn't celebrating that. He was mourning it. People forget that. God is dead wasn't a mic drop, it was a funeral bell. Because if there's no God, no faith, no higher anchor, then who gives meaning? Who protects us? Who do we cry to when the world burns? And when war strips away innocence, when children are forced to grow up too fast, what we lose isn't just faith, it's the very architecture of wonder. A world without God is a world where even 2-year-olds know fear more than they know joy. And in that world, we don't just lose belief, we lose the ability to believe.
Exactly. And we've been seeing a reversal of sorts in the ever since COVID, or maybe even a little before it. In the West, especially, people are turning to become right wing more. People are turning to God more, and people are turning to religion more. And it's not a celebratory thing. People are wanting to become a child. People don't want to be adults anymore. People want some sort of safety. When you rip away people's safety through a disease, when you rip away people's safety through economic failures, when you rip away people's safety through social movements, or perhaps wars or something or the other, at the end of the day, when they're losing their identity, they want to become kids. So if they don't have a parental figure, a all powerful parental figure like a god, they will create one. And that is the reason people are not just creating, people are going back to the old gods of, people are becoming more orthodox in their beliefs. And people are even I'm not going to name any names, but certain leaders are being termed as god, because that is your escapism, because you want to turn into a child, because that is purity. But this isn't purity anymore. This is simply an illusion you put in front of yourself, so that you don't have to grow up too fast. Or maybe that is what it always was.
Yes, and maybe that's what it always had to be. Because in a world where the chaos is too large, the suffering too sharp, and the answers too few, faith becomes the last blanket you wrap around yourself at night. It's not childish in the petty sense, it's primal. A regression into safety, yes, but also an act of resistance. Because if the world demands you be an adult too soon, then turning to God, to an idealized protector, might be the only way to preserve something human in you. It's like we're caught between two traumas: the trauma of growing up too fast, and the trauma of never being allowed to believe in anything at all. And so the pendulum swings from reason to belief, from atheism to dogma, from disillusionment to desperate hope. And maybe every generation has to live through both.
And very sadly, if even if you do want to believe in something, even that itself is an illusion of wanting to become a child. And if you don't believe in something, that is suffering. So at the end of the day, you're stuck at a rock and a hard place. And maybe, just maybe, life itself is an illusion that you're trying to cope with from one strategy to another.
Exactly. And that's the cruel paradox, isn't it? Belief is just choosing your favorite illusion, and disbelief is refusing all illusions, but then bearing the full, raw weight of reality alone. Neither path escapes the trap. One comforts you while keeping you blind, the other exposes you while breaking your back. So we swing between them: faith and cynicism, childhood and adulthood, meaning and meaninglessness. And maybe that's all life ever is: a seesaw between the lies we choose to survive and the truths we're too fragile to face. Maybe the only freedom we really have is picking which dream to live in.
Yeah, pick your poison. Because at the end of the day, you're alive. And as bad as it sounds, you are, so might as well experience it. You get to choose your experience.
And there you have it, a conversation that started with a simple question about God and spiraled into the very nature of belief, childhood, illusion, and existence itself. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, maybe the real question is, what are you using to keep yourself sane? If this stirred something in you, drop a comment below. Let's see how you experience this illusion. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the rest of the series, because patterns are everywhere.